Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. You have allowed the wrong individuals into your inner circle. You have revealed your aspirations to those who smiled while secretly planning to claim them as their own. You have given your trust to people who only saw you as a means to an end, a stepping stone, a temporary advantage. And because of this, you have suffered. You have spent years constructing your dreams on unstable ground, wondering why everything keeps falling apart, blaming yourself, thinking you simply haven't cared enough or sacrificed enough. Stop right there. The issue is not your dedication. The issue is your choice of companions. You have been programmed to believe that human connection is random chance, that meaningful relationships simply occur if you are kind enough. Machiavelli, the master of strategic thinking, would find this amusing. He understood that in the dynamics of influence, and life itself is nothing but dynamics of influence, partnerships are not coincidental. They are carefully constructed necessities. If someone is genuinely right for you, it doesn't mean destiny intervened. It means their mental framework aligns with your vision. It means their darkness complements yours without destroying it. It means they are not just a companion or a friend. They are someone who amplifies your capabilities. But how do you identify them in a society full of pretenders, self-centered individuals, and those who drain your vitality? How do you differentiate between someone who genuinely values you and someone who values what you can provide for them? Machiavelli didn't write about destined partners. He wrote about strategic allies. He wrote about the exceptional few who can stand alongside a leader without attempting to claim his position. Today, we are going to eliminate the romanticized falsehoods you've been taught about human connection. We are going to examine the cold, undeniable indicators that someone is actually equipped to handle the complexity of your existence. I am going to reveal how to recognize the individuals who are naturally and psychologically designed to ascend with you. But be prepared. Once you recognize these indicators, you will understand how hollow your current relationships actually are. You might discover yourself in isolation. And that is precisely where we must start. Most individuals select their companions and partners based on feelings, based on chemical attraction, based on momentary pleasure. This is a critical mistake. Emotions are unstable. Chemical attraction diminishes. If you construct your existence on the basis of temporary feelings, you are building on nothing solid. Machiavelli argues that the only genuine connection is one of mutual benefit and honor. Now, the contemporary mindset rejects the concept of mutual benefit. We think it sounds emotionally distant. We think using people is morally wrong. But examine this more deeply. If an individual adds no significance to your existence, no emotional grounding, no mental stimulation, no tactical assistance, why are they present? They are holding you back. When we say someone is right for you in a strategic sense, we mean they possess capability, inner strength, the capacity to confront the unpredictability of circumstances and not break down. If you are an individual of high worth, or if you are ascending toward high worth, you cannot allow yourself to be connected to the fragile. You need a strategic partner. You need a confidant. You need an ally who functions at your level. These are the indicators. They are nuanced. They are understated. And they will never manifest in an individual who is secretly working against you. Sign 1, the absence of empty praise, the reflection of reality. The first indicator that someone is genuinely right for you is that they refuse to idolize you. This sounds counterintuitive. Your self-image desires worship. Your self-image desires the individual who says, "You're correct, you're flawless, you're the greatest." That feels satisfying. It feels like affection. It is not affection. It is control. Machiavelli famously cautioned, "There is no other method to protect yourself against empty praise than by making individuals understand that telling you the reality will not upset you." The flatterer, the manipulator, the pretender, they will always validate you. They will support your worst decisions because they want to maintain your satisfaction. They want to keep the benefits flowing. They are concerned that if they oppose you, you will remove them. Their agreement is a price they pay to remain in your proximity. But the individual right for you, the individual who is genuinely compatible with your essence, they respect you too profoundly to deceive you. They will be the one to make eye contact and say you are mistaken. You are being irrational. You are squandering your capabilities. This is uncomfortable. It feels like an assault. But notice the distinction. An adversary attacks you to diminish your standing. A genuine ally challenges you to elevate your standards. When someone is right for you, they function as a reflection, not a distorted reflection that makes you appear superior to reality, but a clear surface that reveals the imperfection so you can correct it before you present yourself to the world. They safeguard your standing by examining your conduct in private. Consider the individuals surrounding you right now. Who are the ones who validate everything you express? Dismiss them, mentally remove them. They are hazardous. They will observe you make devastating mistakes just to avoid an uncomfortable discussion. Now consider the individual who debates with you not from hostility but from reasoning. The individual who compels you to strengthen your perspectives. The individual who demands you become the version of yourself you claimed you aspired to be. That resistance, that is not incompatibility. That is growth through opposition. If you discover someone who is not intimidated by your anger, preserve that relationship because it means they prioritize reality more than they prioritize your temporary validation. And in a society of deceivers, that is the most valuable quality in existence. Sign 2, they accept your darkness. The safe space of truth. We all have a public presentation, the disguise, the character. You display it professionally. You display it socially. You display it to navigate life. It is the pleasant, capable, I have everything managed version of you. Most individuals only care for your disguise. They care for the version of you that provides, that entertains, that appears impressive beside them. But beneath that disguise exists the shadow, the vulnerabilities, the past wounds, the unusual thoughts, the moments of fragility where you want to withdraw and surrender. Here is the harsh examination. Remove the disguise. What do? The wrong individuals will withdraw. They will say, "You're being excessive," or "Why are you behaving like this?" They will attempt to shame you back into conformity because your darkness creates discomfort for them. They developed feelings for the image, not the human being. When the image fractures, their interest disappears. But the individual right for you, they don't react negatively. Machiavelli understood that human nature is fundamentally imperfect, changeable, and inclined toward darkness. A strategic companion comprehends this. They are not seeking perfection. They are seeking a human being they can face adversity with. When you reveal to them your shadow, your anger, your fear, your detachment, they do not flee. They observe. They move closer. They examine your inner demons and they acknowledge as if to communicate, "I recognize these. I possess them as well." This is the principle of accepting darkness. It is the security found in the depths, not the heights. If you can exist in a space with someone, communicate your darkest, most disturbing thought, the kind of thought that would get you condemned or criticized by society, and they simply regard you with comprehension. You have discovered something exceptional. You have discovered a sanctuary. Do not confuse this with bonding through shared trauma. Bonding through shared trauma is when you utilize each other's suffering to remain stagnant. This is different. This is shadow acceptance. It is the capacity to say, "I recognize the darkness in you, and I am not intimidated because I understand how to direct that darkness toward our obstacles." If they attempt to repair you immediately, they are presumptuous. If they condemn you, they are fragile. But if they accept the shadow and assist you in channeling it, that is a partnership. That is strength. Sign 3, the weight of silence. Operational harmony. Language is a limited form of expression. It is imperfect. It is easily misinterpreted. It is easily fabricated. The most profound connections do not require constant verbalization. Observe the dynamic you have with the individuals in your existence. With most, there is a frantic necessity to eliminate silence. You discuss trivial matters, current events, rumors, anything to avoid the overwhelming pressure of quietness. Why? Because the silence exposes the absence of connection. When two strangers exist in silence, the discomfort is obvious. But when you are with the individual right for you, the silence is not hollow. It is substantial. It is filled with understanding. You are in a space. You are working. They are reading. No words are exchanged for 2 hours, yet you feel completely connected. You feel their existence like a comforting presence in the background of your consciousness. You are functioning in parallel. This is what I call operational harmony. Machiavelli observed that the most effective teams move as one entity. They don't need the commander to vocalize every single instruction. They understand the objective. They understand the rhythm. In a relationship or a brotherhood, this appears as nonverbal synchronization. You make eye contact across a populated space, and you understand precisely what they are thinking. You understand they are uninterested. You understand they recognize the threat. You understand they are prepared to depart. A subtle expression on their face communicates extensive information to you. This cannot be taught. It cannot be manufactured. It is a natural resonance. If you must constantly explain your emotions, your intentions, or your humor to someone, they are not your individual. You are communicating in different languages. You are functioning on different systems. The correct individual comprehends your state of mind instantly. Consider the efficiency of that. In a crisis, you don't have time to clarify. You need someone who moves when you move, someone who provides assistance before you request it, someone who protects your vulnerability without being instructed. If you discover someone who comprehends your silence superior to most individuals comprehend your words, never release them. That is not just compatibility, that is mental synchronization born of necessity. Sign 4. They don't drain your vitality. The energy assessment. This is the most straightforward assessment, yet 90% of individuals fail to implement it. After you spend 60 minutes with this individual, how do you feel? Do you feel exhausted? Do you feel like you require rest? Do you feel a subtle vibration of tension? Or do you feel energized? Do you feel more focused? Do you feel prepared to accomplish tasks? Most individuals are vitality parasites. They constantly request guidance, validation, attention, and time. But they never reciprocate it. They are voids. They extract the light from the environment. You conclude interactions with them feeling lighter in the worst manner, depleted. Machiavelli advises the leader to be protective of his assets. And your most limited asset is not wealth, it is vitality. The individual right for you is a generator, not a drain. When you interact with them, concepts flow more rapidly. Your vision intensifies. You feel a sense of capacity. It's as if their confidence in you functions as an energy source. This occurs because there is no resistance in the interaction. You don't have to perform. You don't have to walk cautiously. You don't have to filter your thoughts. The vitality you usually spend on managing the interaction is liberated to be utilized on constructing the vision. Pay attention to your physical responses. Your physical body understands before your mind does. If your stomach contracts when their name appears on your device, that is your instinct warning you of danger. That is your instinct warning you of threat. If your shoulders relax, your breathing deepens, and your mind becomes clear when they are present. That is your instinct communicating safety. That is your instinct communicating foundation. In the strategic worldview, you cannot achieve greatness if you are fighting a conflict in your own home. You need your private existence to be stable so your public existence can be dynamic. You need your inner circle to be a source of restoration, not a source of chaos. If they bring chaos, if they thrive on disorder, if every week there is a new crisis, sever the connection. They are addicted to stress hormones, and they will utilize you as their supplier. The correct individual brings tranquility, not the stagnant tranquility of mediocrity, but the active tranquility of a well-functioning system. Sign 5. Strategic dedication, the protective barrier. Dedication is a concept utilized by individuals who have never been tested. Everyone is dedicated when circumstances are favorable. Everyone is dedicated when you are providing the benefits. Everyone is dedicated when you are succeeding. Machiavelli was skeptical about dedication for a reason. He observed that humans are ungrateful, inconsistent, deceptive, fearful, and greedy. He understood that most individuals will betray you the moment the compensation is appropriate or the pressure is too intense. So, how do you identify genuine dedication? Genuine dedication is not blind obedience. Genuine dedication is shared risk. The individual right for you is the one who remains when the vessel is compromised, not because they are foolish, but because they have invested in you. They have connected their destiny to yours. This is the protective barrier principle. When the world attacks you, do they open the entrance for the adversary, or do they defend against them? Observe how they discuss you when you are not present. You will never truly know this, but you can deduce it by how they discuss others to you. Do they gossip about their closest friends to you? If they do, rest assured they are gossiping about you to them. The strategic ally maintains your confidences secured in a vault. They defend your reputation even when it is unpopular to do so. But here is the nuance. They defend you publicly and correct you privately. If someone validates your adversaries publicly just to maintain harmony, they are a coward. They are protecting their options. They are preparing for your decline so they can survive it. The individual right for you stands positioned beside you. They comprehend that an attack on you is an attack on the unit. This is tribal. This is primal. It is us against the world. If you do not feel that us against the world energy, you do not have a companion. You have a cohabitant. You have an acquaintance. You have an informant. Sign 6. They stimulate your vision, the accelerator. There are individuals who are comfortable with your mediocrity. In fact, they prefer it. If you remain average, you don't challenge them. If you remain financially struggling, you don't make them feel inadequate about their own finances. If you remain physically unfit, they don't have to exercise. These individuals will subtly undermine your development. They will say things like, "Why are you working so intensely? Relax, you've transformed. Who do you think you are?" This is the containment mentality. The individual right for you is concerned about your unrealized capabilities. They perceive what you could become, and they are impatient for you to achieve it. They don't stimulate you from cruelty. They stimulate you from vision. They are the accelerator. When you communicate a modest concept, they ask, "Why not greater?" When you want to surrender, they remind you of your identity. When you succeed, they celebrate. But then they ask, "What's next?" This can be exhausting if you are fragile. But if you are exceptional, if you are a strategic builder, this is oxygen. They are not just an observer in your existence. They are an active participant in your transformation. They challenge your intellect. They send you resources. They send you opportunities. They push you into environments you didn't think you belonged in. Why? Because they understand that your ascension is their ascension. Machiavelli wrote, "A leader who is not wise himself cannot be wisely advised." This means you need individuals surrounding you who are wise enough to push you. If you are the most intelligent, strongest, most ambitious individual in your environment, you are in the wrong environment. The individual right for you should intimidate you slightly. Their excellence should make you want to improve. If you regard your companion or your closest friend and you don't feel a slight pressure to elevate, you have settled. You have selected comfort over conquest. Now, you might be examining your existence and understanding no one fits this description. Or worse, you might understand you have pushed these individuals away because you weren't prepared for the reality they brought. You might be thinking, "I discovered someone like this, but I lost them." Or, I have someone like this, but how do I maintain them? How do I ensure they don't outgrow me? Discovering the correct individual is only the first step. Securing the partnership, that is an entirely different challenge. That requires a level of psychological discipline against your own self-image that most individuals cannot survive. Machiavelli didn't just tell us how to identify an ally. He told us how to connect them to us. He told us how to create a connection so strong that betrayal becomes practically impossible. In the next part, I am going to reveal the final indicators, the most subtle, hazardous ones, and then I am going to provide you the strategy to maintaining them. This is where we move from observation to implementation. This is where we stop seeking indicators and start constructing the vision. Don't go anywhere. The most profound truth is yet to come. Sign 7. The lack of subtle hostility. The envy assessment. Observe their eyes when you succeed. This is the most revealing assessment of all because it exposes the secret resentment that destroys most relationships from within. When you announce a victory, a promotion, a new venture, a physical transformation, most individuals will say the appropriate words. Congratulations. Wow, that's excellent. I'm pleased for you. But examine the subtle expressions. Is there a flash of tension in the jaw? Do they look down before they look up? Is there a split second of coldness before the smile is displayed, or do they immediately redirect the discussion back to themselves? Oh, that's amazing. It reminds me of when Cool, but be cautious. You know the economy is unstable, right? These are subtle hostilities. They are tiny weapons. They are the subconscious signaling that your ascension makes them feel inadequate. They don't want you to fail catastrophically, but they want you to remain just slightly beneath them. They want you to be the supporting role, not the leading role. The individual right for you does not compete with you. Why? Because they are secure in their own strength. They function from a mindset of abundance, not scarcity. They comprehend that your victory does not diminish from their portion. When you succeed, the correct individual feels a surge of excitement as if they succeeded. This is a psychological principle called shared joy, the opposite of envy. It is the capacity to derive satisfaction from the success of an ally. If you communicate to them you just made a massive breakthrough, their eyes should illuminate. They should engage. They should want to understand the details, not to claim them, but to appreciate them. If you feel like you must diminish your accomplishments around someone to avoid making them uncomfortable, you are in the presence of an adversary. You are in the presence of a parasite who feeds on your mediocrity. Machiavelli understood that humans are driven by two principal motivations, either by affection or by apprehension. The envious friend fears you. They fear you leaving them behind, and that apprehension will eventually transform into sabotage. The ally right for you pushes you into the spotlight because they understand that when the leader ascends, the kingdom ascends. Sign 8. The principle of reciprocity. The balanced exchange. Let's discuss the economics of the soul. Every relationship is a transaction. I don't care how romantic you want to be. I don't care about unconditional affection. Unconditional affection is for infants and animals. Adult relationships are conditional. They depend on mutual worth. The final indicator that someone is right for you is that the exchange balances itself without you having to request it. With the wrong individuals, you are always the initiator. You send the message first. You plan the meeting. You purchase the gift. You ask, "How are you?" You carry the emotional responsibility. If you stopped contributing, the movement would stop moving. This creates a deficit in the relationship. You start to feel resentful. You start maintaining records. I did this for them. Why won't they do this for me? When the individual is correct, the scorekeeping disappears. Why? Because the reciprocity is fluid. One week you might carry 80% of the responsibility because they are in a crisis. The next week they carry 80% because you are unwell. You don't need a calculation to track it because you trust their intention. You understand that they are not trying to extract worth from you. They are trying to contribute worth to the unit. This is the principle of equivalent exchange. If you are always the one reaching out, stop. Just stop. Observe what occurs. If silence follows, you have your answer. The relationship was maintained by your effort alone. It was artificial. But if they notice the silence and fill it, if they come to you, that is the indicator of a balanced equation. Machiavelli advised the leader to avoid being hated and to avoid being disrespected. Being disrespected comes from being fragile. Being utilized is a form of fragility. The individual right for you respects your time and your assets as much as they respect their own. They don't play games with your attention. They don't leave you waiting for 24 hours to prove they are occupied. That is a child's game. They value the connection, so they maintain the connection. It is that straightforward. Now let's assume you have discovered this individual. You have identified the indicators. They challenge you. They protect your shadow. They balance the exchange. How do you maintain them? Most individuals ruin these connections because they become complacent. They think, oh, we are destined partners, so I don't need to try anymore. Wrong. Entropy is the principle of the universe. Disorder increases over time. Relationships decay if they are not maintained. If you want to maintain a high-worth ally, you must use strategic thinking to connect them to you. You do not want them to just care for you. You want them to be unable to afford losing you. Here is how you secure the partnership. 1. Become irreplaceable. The utility strategy. Machiavelli wrote, "Humans care at their own pleasure and fear at the pleasure of the leader." To translate this into relationship dynamics, you cannot control if they care for you. Affection is unstable, but you can control how much they need you. You must become a source of worth that they cannot discover anywhere else. This isn't about wealth, it's about specific utility. Are you the only individual who comprehends their complex mind? Are you the only individual who can calm them down when they panic? Are you the one who organizes their chaotic thoughts? Are you the one who pushes them to be excellent? If you are just pleasant, you are replaceable. There are millions of pleasant individuals. But if you are the architect of their tranquility or the strategist of their vision, you become something they cannot surrender. Identify their deepest need, the thing they struggle with most, and become the solution to that challenge. 2. Create a third entity. The shared objective. Two individuals looking at each other will eventually become bored. Two individuals looking in the same direction can walk together indefinitely. The strongest connections are not purely emotional. They are purposeful. They are based on a shared mission. You need a third entity. You plus them equals the relationship. But you plus them plus the objective equals the vision. What are you constructing together? It could be a family, it could be a venture, it could be a philosophy, it could be a literal home. If there is no shared project, a relationship becomes stagnant. It becomes a series of meals and entertainment. That is a slow decline. The individual right for you wants to construct. Provide them a blueprint. Communicate, we are not just in a relationship. We are constructing a life of freedom. We are not just friends. We are constructing a network of influence. When you have a shared objective, minor disputes don't matter. You don't separate over trivial matters when you are conquering a goal. The objective anchors the connection. 3. Maintain the edge, the fear of loss. This is controversial, but it is reality. A relationship without a tiny element of apprehension is a lifeless relationship. I am not discussing the apprehension of harm. I am discussing the apprehension of loss. If they are 100% certain that you will never depart, no matter how poorly they treat you, they will eventually treat you poorly. It is human nature. We take for granted what is guaranteed. You must maintain the edge. You must continue to improve yourself. You must stay physically fit. You must have other options, even if you never utilize them. You must have an existence outside of them. They need to regard you and think, if I ruin this, someone else will claim my position. This maintains the desire alive. It maintains the respect elevated. Machiavelli said it is superior to be feared than cared for if you cannot be both in a relationship. The healthy version is, It is superior to be respected than to be taken for granted. Never allow yourself to become a piece of furniture in their existence. Remain a prize. Remain something that must be earned every single day. The final truth: become who you seek. We have spent this entire time discussing how to discover the correct individual, but we need to turn the reflection around. If the perfect strategic companion walked into your existence today, would they recognize you as an equal? Or would they see immaturity? Would they see someone who is emotionally reactive? Would they see someone who is inactive? Would they see someone who is drowning in financial problems and chaos? You attract what you are, not what you desire. If you want excellence, you cannot be mediocre. If you want strength, you cannot be fragile. The reason you haven't discovered them yet might not be because they don't exist. It might be because you are invisible to them. High-worth individuals have a filter. They ignore the noise. They ignore the complainers. They ignore the victims. If you are constantly expressing about how individuals disappoint you and no one is dedicated, you are broadcasting your own fragility. You are telling the world, I am a victim. The individual right for you is seeking a victor. So before you go seeking this exceptional connection, you must construct the fortress within yourself. You must eliminate your own neediness. You must master your own emotions. You must construct your own objective. When you do that, a strange thing occurs. You stop pursuing. And when you stop pursuing, you start attracting the indicators I listed. You must embody them first. You must stop praising individuals. You must accept their shadow. You must be the energy generator. You must be the vault. Be the individual you are seeking, and then inevitably, undeniably, they will appear, not by magic, but by the principle of resonance. Discovering the individual right for you is not the conclusion of the story. It is the beginning of the journey. Existence is difficult. It is tragic. It is unfair. Walking through it alone is possible. Machiavelli spent his final years in exile alone with his writings, but it is a cold existence. To discover another human consciousness that vibrates at your frequency is the greatest strategic advantage you can possess. It transforms a survival situation into a thriving vision. But remember this final caution. These individuals are exceptional. They are outliers. You might only encounter 2 or 3 in your entire lifetime. If you have one, do not let your self-image destroy the connection. Do not let your pettiness burn the bridge. Do not let your complacency rot the foundation. Guard that partnership with your existence, because outside the walls of that fortress, it is a wilderness of illusions and pretenders. If you are alone right now, do not despair. Use the solitude, sharpen your mind, construct your worth, become so formidable that when you finally cross paths with them, they have no choice but to stop and say, there you are. I have been searching for you. The indicators will appear. The silence will communicate. The vision will ascend.